for assuming the chair. We're very confident, of course, that under your stewardship our deliberations will be fruitful. I must also say that the Government of India deserves congratulations for the successful leadership it has provided since the last 11th session of the Council last year. Through you, Mr. Chairman, I would also like to extend sincere thanks to the Government of India for the warm reception and generous hospitality, and of course the excellent arrangements for this and the preparatory meetings. I would also like to put on record our deep appreciation for the sincere efforts of the Secretary General for infusing dynamism into the work of the Association. I would be remiss if I do not welcome my new neighbour, Comoros, into the membership of the IOR-ARC. I must say that it adds value to our membership. Mr. Chairman, the Indian Ocean is not just an extended expanse of blue waters. To many of us land lubbers, the ocean separates, but in fact, the Indian Ocean connects. It links us into a wholesome that we are here to celebrate 15 years of existence of the organization. But as we mark the 15 years, it's also an occasion for us to engage in some introspection. And that is something which our distinguished delegate from Australia also mentioned. Although somewhat sluggish in the initial years, our association has demonstrated some visible progress in recent years. The last few years have also seen an exercise of review of the association for it to deliver on its promises in full. Notably, we have written a new charter, staff and financial regulations, increased frequency of meetings, adopted a clustering approach in project formulation, etc. Now that the association has consolidated its institutional base, it is time for us perhaps to focus on our attention and efforts for concrete outcomes. Bangladesh has a particular desire to see IOR-ARC on a forward journey towards a goal of delivery of tangible benefits for all our peoples. However, as it is recovering from the recession of 2008, the global economy remains fragile. The second-round effects of the financial meltdown are being felt in terms of decline in export earnings, investment, remittance, OD, etc., particularly by the developing member states of our association. We're confident that building on our synergies and complementarities will allow us to withstand such external economic upheavals as well as emerging challenges. The challenge before us to adopt the appropriate strategy to pursue cooperation in keeping with our principle of open regionalism despite the substantial diversity in geography, governance and level of development. Our strength lies in our steady growth, a burgeoning middle class that is increasingly confident about its future, a large internal market working as both a manufacturing hub and a consumer base. We welcome designation of maritime piracy as one of the 6 standalone areas for cooperation during the last Council of Ministers meeting. Piracy in the Indian Ocean has become a matter of great concern, not only for the maritime industry, but also for governments all over the world due to its high human and economic cost. Mr. Chairman, Bangladesh shares the concern of other countries over this menace. The extent of their reach signifies that it would be difficult to curb this menace without a concerted regional, trans-regional and international campaign. In the long run, of course, creation of good order at the sea, which would prevent illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing activities in and around Somali waters by other nations, would be needed. Mr. Chairman, Bangladesh believes that trade and investment should remain the 2 key areas of cooperation in our association. In this vein, we attach importance to progress in those 2 areas. In spite of the temporary setback in drafting the PTA, we support continued study in this area toward the goal of conclusion of such an agreement in future. We also wish to see progress in the drafting of the agreement on the promotion and protection of investment within the IOR-ARC. Natural disasters, Mr. Chairman, are a recurrent phenomenon of our region whose severity is being intensified by the impact of climate change. Since disasters strike different countries at different times in an unpredictable manner, it is not possible perhaps for any individual country to dedicate a major chunk of its resources solely to manage disasters at the cost of vital sectors of development. We need to assess and address the challenges that climate change poses to climate-sensitive sectors of our countries, including water resources, agriculture, and therefore food security, health, energy, urban planning, tourism, etc. The SANA communique issued from the 10th COM on 5th August 2010 stressed the need for greater cooperation in addressing the challenges emanating from climate change. Mr. Chairman, in conclusion, IOR-ARC, and therefore us, we all must strive as active agents of change, contributing to the betterment of the lives of our peoples. The potentials of the Indian Ocean Rim are immense. We envisage IOR-ARC as a catalyst for the qualitative impact on people's lives and our capacity to collectively impact all others. Mr. Chairman, a longer version of the statement would be circulated. I thank you, sir.